Let's go.
Wednesday afternoon.
Still a very young player. But that said, I mean, and of course he played for England in the last summer, but you can't always play similar players in the same team. I mean, Declan Rice, I tend to think of him as an attacking midfielder. He certainly seems to have license to go all over the place. So whether you would play Rice and Palmer in the same team, I'm not sure.
Right.
But yeah, I think they're both great players. You could probably fit them in, depending on what a manager thinks. But yeah, the four players you mentioned are all excellent, and it's good for England that we've got those players like that. Kane is possibly getting on the wrong side now of 30, and I don't know how long his England career will continue. For the moment, I guess it will. But yeah, he's still a great player.
Yeah. I was just thinking about them, and I thought Anthony Gordon would be a brilliant inclusion in the England squad.
Well, he did play though, didn't he? He did play last year in the Euros.
Oh, he did. Oh, yeah, he did, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he was in there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was just talking about. Yeah, I was just thinking. I hope Thomas Tuchel. How do you pronounce his name anyway? Tuchel.
Well, Thomas Tuchel.
Tuchel.
Yeah.
So I hope he continues to use him. You know, I hope he uses him even more.
I think he will.
Yeah, I hope he does. Because this, you know, all right. So Gareth Southgate used him, but you know, a new manager might decide to not use him. So yeah, I hope he does, because there's something about him. There's something about that kid, and he's phenomenal. He's not, and he's so cool-headed. It's not one of those people that you would hear things about, you know, probably, you know, getting a red card for being, you know, disruptive or something on the field.
Yeah.
He's very, very cool-headed.
Absolutely.
So I like him. Yeah. So that's another one that I like. So just going back to that Newcastle and Arsenal match. I mean, Newcastle, you know, they're a great side as well, aren't they? But
they are.
Yeah, but Arsenal, the way that they played yesterday, it was like I was seeing a different Arsenal. It was like it won Arsenal. It was like, I was gonna say it was like Nottingham Forest, but Nottingham Forest now.
Well, yeah, they're flying, aren't they?
they are
really
flying,
are
aren't
flying.
they? I mean, they are.
Incredible.
They are on the same points with. I mean, they're only number 3 because of the goal difference. That's it.
The goal difference.
They're on the same point with Arsenal.
Yeah.
So they are really threatening a lot of these.
Well, they are. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. I think they've won the 5 last matches, which is huge. To win.
Well, incredible, really.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we might be seeing a Leicester-like kind of.
I mean, no one. I don't think picked them out. No pundit picked them out earlier. In fact, I think Jamie Carragher, the pundits have, you know, the beginning of the season before it starts, they put down who's going to go down. They think who's going to win the league and all that. And in Jamie Carragher's 3 teams to be relegated, not Forest were one of them. So, that was pointed out to him a week or so ago. And of course, they can get it wrong. Anybody can, but because football is not always that predictable.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's for them to be playing like they are. It's like with the manager Nuno, they've come out of nowhere, and it's not like many of us, certainly, you know, non-Forest supporters. I couldn't name all of their team. I can name some of them, but they're not kind of household names in the football world.
No.
And yet they're doing, as we said before, what Leicester did. I don't believe they will win the league, but they could. I still think they could be in the top 4, or it could be the top 6, because, you know, they've had a very purple patch of victories, and maybe that will continue. But generally, realistically, I think they will be losing a few games between now and the end of the season. So, but I don't see them below the top 6, which will be a heck of an achievement for them.
Yeah.
And if it's higher, if it's in the top 4, well and good. Could happen.
Well, they're way past relegation now.
Oh, absolutely. They won't be relegated. No, no.
They won't be relegated now, unless they lose.
Just amazing that someone felt they could have been relegated. But then it's not like they, had a great season last season. They were okay. But so no one necessarily would have predicted that they would be up there second, third, fourth at this time, but halfway through the season. It's phenomenal, like Leicester. And for all I've just said about they won't win all their games, they could do, because they're developing that, or they've developed that huge winning momentum which any successful team needs to build. We've seen it in reverse at Man City, although they've had a couple of good results lately. But that huge number of losses for a team like Man City can only be to do with a complete loss of confidence. Okay, and maybe 1 or 2 injuries, but certainly in their defence. But the loss of confidence can work in the same negative way as the winning momentum works in a positive way. If a team gets into a mindset of winning, that's worth a goal or 2 each game, really. So, and I think that's what Forest are doing. They're going out with I don't think they're complacent, but they're going out with such a swagger, such a confidence that they can beat anybody. And it's happening. It's great to see it, because it's very good for football and the Premier League to see that a team can sort of come out of nowhere within the division and do what they're doing, where people even start to even think about, could they possibly win the league? Well, they could. I don't think they will, because Liverpool, Arsenal, possibly Chelsea, they'll probably end up ahead of them. But it is going incredibly well. And you wouldn't bet against it, let's face it. You wouldn't bet against it. No, it's great. It's great to see it. I think good luck to them. And it must be a good time to be a Nottingham Forest fan. It really must be.
Yeah, it must be, yeah. Now, Manchester United. So, all right. So they drew their last match against Liverpool, which is a big opponent to be playing against. However, do you think they're out of the woods yet? Manchester United, what do you think?
Well, it depends what you mean out of the woods. I mean, it doesn't look as if they're going to finish in the top 4 of the Champions League places. It would be quite an achievement if they did, but I doubt it. And I mean, I was reading yesterday that, and you may say it could be true of many teams in the top division or not, but it said the board would listen to offers for any of their players.
Oh, I saw that yesterday.
Did you see that?
I did.
Yeah. Now, as I say, that sounds quite a dramatic thing, but in another way, you could almost say in any club, money will always speak. If there are some players who would not be sold, I'm sure, from a club, because they're too good and too important for that club. But I think most players, if a club came in with a silly, ridiculous offer, high offer, then not many clubs will be able to turn that down. So although it said that they'll take an offer for any player, I don't think that is saying much more than is probably the case for the majority of footballers in the Premier League, that if another club came for them, somewhere like, well, not so much Saudi Arabia, because if they're younger players, they wouldn't want to go there at this stage. But a European club or another Premier League club, if a silly offer's made, then you cash in and you take it. And so in that way, anyone is, money will always talk loudest. But I still was a bit surprised to see that seems to have been said by the club on behalf of the owners, that they would sell anybody. Fair enough. I mean, I think they've got some excellent players still. I mean, Bruno Fernandes, I think, is brilliant. Yeah, he really has a bad game as far as I can see when I see him either live in a match like the other day or on Match of the Day. He's just got brilliant football brain. He's got the ability to pass a ball with the absolute correct weighting on the pass, the pace and so on. So yeah, he's an absolute first-class player. And there's others at Man United who are clearly very good footballers, but they just had a bad time. For the new manager, he's having that dip that, okay, all the managers since Ferguson have not really been great, but he's having the dip you might expect for a new manager. And I would be surprised if he doesn't have a much more successful season next season, where, when he's got the team more like he wants, new players perhaps, and moulding the style of play. Because in fact they brought him in, the owners, because they wanted his style of play. Now the reality is the team, which have got very good players, so far haven't adapted that well to that style of play. And some would say, well, he should go back to what they do best. But that would be to go against the object, the aims of the board in bringing him in. He plays in that style, and they've got to get used to that.
Soft Family and the ladies, Dr. Gladys and Phantom and Rose. We all have a lovely show every weekday, so join us for a lovely show.
Say hello to Phantom.